Someone is reportedly paying $12.5 billion for the Lakers. So here's the obvious question. Why? Not why the Lakers are valuable. We already know that. The better question is, what did Bob Iger and Joshua Kushner see that made $12.5 billion worth paying? Because just weeks before the Lakers became available, they were preparing to pursue something completely different, an NBA expansion team in Las Vegas. Then the Lakers suddenly entered the picture.
Forget Vegas.
Everything
changed.
Let's
buy the Lakers.
In June, Iger and Kushner were reportedly preparing a bid for an NBA expansion franchise in Las Vegas. They weren't looking to buy the Lakers. They were looking to create something new. Then they learned Mark Walter might be willing to sell his Lakers. And suddenly, they had a choice. Wait for an expansion team or buy one of the most recognizable franchises in sports. They chose the Lakers. And according to reporting, the deal came together in roughly 3 days. That speed tells us something. This wasn't a decision to slowly build a new NBA asset. It was a decision to grab an existing one. So what made the Lakers worth the premium? Start with the simplest part. There are only 30 NBA franchises, and you can't manufacture another Lakers. You can build an expansion team in Las Vegas. You can build an arena. You can hire executives. You can create a new brand. But you can't instantly create 17 championships, decades of history, a global fan base, the Los Angeles market, and the Lakers name itself. That's what you're buying. Not just a basketball team, an asset that is almost impossible to reproduce. Then there's the market. The Lakers aren't just one of 30 NBA teams. They're the NBA team in Los Angeles. And that gives the franchise enormous commercial potential. Sponsors, media, merchandise, global exposure, entertainment, and access to one of the world's most important sports and entertainment markets. That matters because an investor doesn't have to believe the Lakers will dominate every season. They have to believe the underlying asset can continue becoming more valuable. NBA franchise values have been moving in that direction for years. The Lakers themselves were valued at $10 billion when Mark Walter acquired control in 2025. Now, the reported transaction with Iger and Kushner values the franchise at $12.5 billion. That's an extraordinary increase in a very short period. The NBA is getting more valuable, and the Lakers don't exist in isolation. The NBA's new media agreements with Disney, NBC Universal, and Amazon run for 11 years, beginning with the 2025-26 season. The deals were widely reported at roughly $76 billion in total. That's important, because when you buy an NBA franchise, you're also buying into the economics of the league. More media revenue, more streaming distribution, more international exposure, and potentially higher franchise values in the future. The Lakers don't control those trends, but they benefit from being one of the league's most valuable brands. Then, there's Luka, and this is where the basketball side matters. The Lakers already have their next franchise centerpiece, Luka Dončić. He didn't cause Walter to sell, and he wasn't the reason Iger and Kushner suddenly wanted the Lakers. Luka makes the timing more attractive. The LeBron era is over. The Lakers already have a 27-year-old player capable of being the face of the franchise for years. That doesn't guarantee championships. Gives the new owner something extremely valuable: time. They aren't buying an empty franchise and hoping to find its next superstar. They're buying a historic franchise with one already in place. Why not
Las Vegas?
And this may be the most revealing part of the entire story. Iger and Kushner were reportedly interested in building an expansion team in Las Vegas. That would have meant creating something from the ground up. Instead, they were suddenly offered the Lakers. And the difference is enormous. With expansion, you're buying potential. With the Lakers, you're buying history, brand recognition, Los Angeles, an established fan base, and a franchise that already has global relevance. So even at $12.5 billion, the calculation may have been simple. Why build the next great NBA franchise? when one of the greatest franchises already exists? The part we still don't know, and this is where we need to separate facts from speculation. We know Iger and Kushner wanted an NBA franchise. We know they had been exploring Las Vegas. We know the Lakers became available. We know they moved extremely quickly. And we know the reported transaction values the Lakers at a record $12.5 billion. But we still don't know everything that influenced Walter's decision to sell. There is now reporting about financial pressure surrounding Walter's broader business empire and the federal investigation involving his companies. Those issues matter. But that's a different question. And it's important not to confuse what is documented with what is being inferred. Because the next question isn't, why are the Lakers worth $12.5 billion? We've answered that. The next question is, did something outside the Lakers help explain why Walter wanted out? That's where this story seems to get more complicated.